Yes, yes. Once again, we are live here with the Reentry Connect podcast through rain to rainbows. Here with Miss Sherri. Miss Sherri, we so happy to have you here on the podcast. We know you have a powerful story that's about to be spoken about right now, and we know that we all go through things in life, but that's what we're here for, to share our experiences. To let people know that if we did it, they can do it as well. Before we get started, I just want to shout out Old Dad One Day at a Time, Mr. Mel Wells out of the city of Philadelphia, 215-226-7860. Yes, if you're looking for that resource for reentry, if you're looking for the resources for recovering addicts and all the types of resources, feel free to reach out to them. Another shout out to gpstransportation.net, 215-774-9913. And yes, they are the best 5-star transportation company in the tri-state, throughout the whole country, matter of fact. Looking for a good place to for them to transport you, nice vehicles, feel free to reach out to them. All right, but without further ado, we got to get back to the show. Here with Miss Sherri. Miss Sherri. We're so happy to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. Miss Sherri, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us who you are and where you're from.
Hi, well, I'm Sherri. My last name is Kahl, and I'm 29 years old. I am from Perry County, Pennsylvania, and thank you for having me.
Yes, yes, indeed, Miss Sherri. And Miss Sherri, we know that a lot of with the well, just in general with this Reentry Connect podcast, we know that again, we've been through things in life. But if you could just share, like, how was your upbringing, Miss Sherri? Before we get into like depths of different things that happened in your life, how was your childhood? How was your upbringing? Was it nice? Was it fun? How was it?
So my childhood was a little bit of a mix. I could say like always had what I needed, always had a roof over my head. I was always clothed. I had an education, food, but there was also some dysfunction in my family and in my household. Um, so I kind of had, it's a little confusing because I had a little bit of both, a little bit of bad with the good, but
Gotcha. Cool, cool, cool. So during that time in your life, at what point in your life did you find yourself going down the wrong trajectory?
um, I think that I started really going down the wrong path when I was about 13.
Mm. And what type of things took place?
I started using drugs. I started, not going to school. I got kicked out of school. Um, started getting in trouble, started getting put in placements, rehabs, um, got expelled, went to an alternative school, got expelled from there, didn't go back to school, partying, drug use, bad relationships, and the list goes on and on.
Wow, wow, powerful, powerful. So by chance, and I know you can relate to a lot of the young women that's probably even listening now. Um, those things, what drove you to turn to that lifestyle? What type of things do you regret, or what type of things that happened in your life that allowed you to start turning to such a way of living?
Honestly, it could be a couple different things, a lot of different things. In my mind, what I think of is I was molested as a child at a young age. So that changed some things for me and the way I viewed and the way I felt about some things. And like the dysfunction in my family and in my household as a child. My dad was abusive to my mom and was, it still is an alcoholic. So that was something that probably changed the way I did things in my life, maybe a little bit. Um, and just the people that I hung around, I guess, like the kids that I hung around when I was younger, and the group of people I was with.
Wow. So a lot of the influences that were around you, the peer pressures and a lot of these things made you, turn to such a way. So eventually in your life, in the point of your life, um, time went on, and I know that, things probably happened throughout that time, but it came a time when you did get incarcerated. So what did that look like, and like why do you think something like that would happen?
So like I said, I was in and out of placements as a child a few times.
Mhm.
Nothing too serious. Well, 6 months at longest, but multiple times in a rehab stay as an adolescent. But then, uh, 18 years old and past that, okay, county prison came along, and I was in and out of county
Wow.
prison on and off all the time. A year here, 3 months here, 6 months there. I could just never keep it together. I'd get back out, go back to the street, use drugs, get in trouble, commit crimes, go back to the same old thing, same old things. Because that's, I guess, even though it was uncomfortable and I didn't truly really like it, or that wasn't really what I wanted, that's what I knew. You know,
Wow.
I thought.
So at what point did that learning curve come where you said, "Hey, I want to change my life"? Did that occur while you were incarcerated? Did it run through your mind about, you having a family out here you had to, take care of? How did that transpire?
I don't think it really ever clicked. Like I thought I wanted, to change, or I wanted to be different, or, try things differently, and move forward in my life at different times. But really, this last time when I was incarcerated, I went upstate for the first time and ended up doing
Wow.
I did 18 months, almost 2 years. So, and I went into, it was a completely different setting, completely different setting. Things were different.
Mhm.
And I was in an intensive program. It's a TC, a therapeutic community program, or, behavioral and drug program. So I mean, they kind of run a tight ship. I'm not going to lie a little bit. They do run a little bit of a tight ship. And just some of the things that they said while I was there, like, I went through a lot. I went through a lot and sat down for a little bit longer, and just thought about a lot of things that had happened in my life. I had a lot of feelings and a lot of emotions during this time I was away. And just the things that they were saying in this program, I remember they said, because we had like three women that were like running our programs, right? And the one
Mhm.
day, and they would talk to us sometimes not very well, they would swear, they would yell, make us sit there, kind of look stupid, feel stupid, and tell us things, nobody wants to hear. Like,
Mhm.
okay, you know what? You're going to go back out. You might as well go pick up the phone today, and you might as well call whoever's out there putting money on your books, writing you letters, telling you they love you, making phone calls to, and you better tell them, your kids, your mom, your grandmother, whoever's out there, you know, hey, I don't give a shit about you. And when I come home, I'm going to do the exact same thing, because I don't care how you feel. I don't really love you, and I don't care about myself. And I might as well stay here.
Wow, wow,
So
wow.
yeah, I was like, "Oh my gosh," and it made a lot of feelings. Like, I had to sit down and do a lot of things, that I didn't wanna do. Deal with a lot of feelings that I didn't wanna feel from my childhood, from growing up, whatever, and
Mhm.
it makes you think. It makes you think a lot and see
Wow.
things from a different perspective.
Mm. So throughout that time span, did you worry about your family, or they were like, were they there for you, or did you not have family at all?
No, actually, I am very blessed in that aspect, because I have a good support system. I have a good family.
Wow.
Everybody has their faults. Each
Mhm.
person is their own, and nobody's perfect. But I have a loving mother, loving father, loving grandmother, sister, and a brother-in-law, nephews, children. you know, and the list goes on. I have supportive friends, that are sober, don't live that type of lifestyle, church friends, so on and so forth. And they were all supportive of me, writing letters, calls. If they, I talk to my family regularly, you know, um, yeah. And they helped me out. They were there for me.
Gotcha. So do you believe like since your last time that you were incarcerated, that was your last and final time you're ready to definitely make your life a good path and a good path for your family, your kids, and so on?
You know what? I would love to say that I would never go back to prison. I hope, and with everything in
Whoa.
me, that I never go back to prison. I never have to go back to prison ever, But
Mhm.
I will not say that nothing will ever happen that I may have to go back to prison for, because I can't control every situation. Can I control myself? Yes, but there's things sometimes that just happen. I know it's unusual, but I don't want to say never. And,
Gotcha.
but I am going to do everything that I can and within my power and my control of myself
Mhm.
and my life to not ever have to go back to prison again, and never have to disappoint myself and my family and my children to have to go back to prison and leave them again, you know?
Gotcha. And then we appreciate your honesty. I know a lot of viewers that are viewing and listening appreciate that honesty because oftentimes people will say, "Oh, I'm never going back," and the next thing you know, they land up in there. But one thing I want to encourage you with as well is to always speak life over any situation you're in or any situation that you know or may think that's going to come about, because you're better than being behind bars. You're better than, sitting in a jail cell. You're better than, leaving your family behind you, and things like that. So always think about that. Even if, like I say, even if a situation does arises before you that you may be like, oh my God, speak life like it's not going to happen again because I learned my lesson. You know what I mean? Because oftentimes we forget that we do have family, that loves us, care for us. You know what I mean? We have to be grateful for that because some people don't have family. Some people don't have people that they could turn to or lean on, as a crutch, you know what I'm saying, to help them get to point A to point B. You know what I mean? Some people out here on the streets figuring out where their next meal is going to come from, whether it be at a homeless shelter or a food bank or, a one night stay somewhere, just till the next day. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of things that we really have to be grateful for, and I'm quite sure you are too, knowing the person that you are. From the time when we met. Doing the group and the Rising Scholars and things like that, which was a great experience. And it's just one of those things where that's really appreciative of you being really open like that. So if you could give some encouraging words or inspiration to individuals that are listening from a jail cell or a halfway house, transition house, recovery house, suffering or going through that addiction. Um, what would you say to help them with a brighter future recovering from that addiction?
Honestly, okay, I have a couple things that I'm thinking right now.
Hmm.
No matter where you've been, what you've done, you can change your future. Your past doesn't have to be your tomorrow, and you can overcome it. If you decide within yourself and make a choice for yourself and the people that love you and are around you to overcome your battles, all the things that you went through, anything you're dealing with emotionally from the past, what has happened to you, you can overcome it. And it's not you. It doesn't have to define you. You can move forward in your life and do better and be better for yourself and others around you. Um, there's tons of programs out there. There's Pro A that will help you with rides to and from work for the first 2 weeks. It will help you get a job, help you make a resume, Office of OVR that will help you with tons of different things, funding for schooling, all types of things. There's She's Somebody's Daughter in Lemoyne. If you've been a sex trafficking victim, there are so many different things in the world that you can get into that will help you, that people care. Just find them, find the people. Go, if maybe going to meetings are your thing, like having a sponsor, anything. Find sober friends, find sober people, find a church group, find anything, and reach out. There's people to help. People do care. If you don't have anybody, like family or close friends or anything like that, there's somebody out there that will care, that will help you. You just have to find them, and you just have to put in the work sometimes.
Yes, thank you so much, Miss Sherri. Really do appreciate everything you've shared. I'm quite sure that your story is definitely going to touch individuals because a lot of people do battle through different things. You know what I'm saying? And again, this platform is to reach people from different perspectives. You know what I mean? Because something you may have been through can probably help somebody across the world that's listening to this right now. It can help somebody that's down in Kensington. You know what I mean? So again, you brought some resources, you shared your story, because that's how we overcome. We overcome by that testimony. That's one of the ways, and by us sharing that, again, it's not to keep it for ourselves, but it's for others, to hear that example so they won't fall into that ditch, But Ms. Sherri, we appreciate having you, and it's definitely been a wonderful show. You did a very great job, and I'm quite sure when people are going to feedback, I'll definitely let you know. I know you don't mention deal with the social media, but if people wanted to contact you, what is your email address?
My email address is slkahl@proton.me.
Okay. Yes, and she does live in the United States, y'all. She's not in Alaska anywhere. I never heard of an email address like that, but she says something new, something very secure, which is very great. But hopefully it's an individual that's probably battling addiction or something like that may want to reach out to her and figure out, how did she overcome and the step-by-step process of how to get over that. That really means a lot. But Ms. Sherri, without further ado, thank you so much for tuning in and coming and being a guest here with the podcast, the Reentry Connect podcast. I'm your host, Keenan Hudson, Through Rain to Rainbows. She said it just fine. Through Rain to Rainbows with Ms. Sherri Kahl. We appreciate having you. But until next time, we'll see you later, Ms. Sherri. Thank you.